Hi everyone, welcome back to the next card in today's class. This one I think is one of my favourite cards in the set that I've designed for the event today. I've gone a bit rogue, and rather than ladybirds, which we have created on this card, I have used the punch to create some bumblebees. So I know I said butterflies at the beginning of the day, but these are most definitely bumblebees, okay? I saw something very, very similar used and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. And I've used the Hive embossing folder here to really bring this card together. I'm going to show you a fun technique that you can use with embossing folders. If you haven't got the Hive embossing folder, don't worry, you can switch it out for something else and still create the same look. But yes, I'm going to show you how to make little bumblebees from the ladybug punch. Okay, so we're going to need envelope number 4, and there's quite a bit in this envelope, and I'm going to start with the card base. Okay, so the card base, we have a crumb cake card base. Give that a nice score, and then we have a piece of basic white. Now this basic white is what we're actually going to emboss. But before we emboss, we're going to do something with our embossing folder. So you're going to need a So Saffron ink pad, and you're going to need a blending brush. Okay. So you're going to work out on here which has got the raised element. So the raised hexagons are here. Okay. So it's the one with the Stampin' Up logo on, and you're going to take your blending brush to your ink pad, and then take your blending brush to your embossing folder. Okay, make sure that it covers the whole of the embossing folder, and go over it so that you've got a really good layer of ink on there. Okay, so you can see that is now yellow, and then you're going to lay your piece of white card on the other side. So we've got ink this side with the Stampin' Up logo, and then we've got the card here. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring that over and hold it in place. Okay, bring in your die machine and run it through your die machine. I absolutely love this technique. It's so different. Let me move that out of the way. When you open your card, you get something that looks like this. So the ink is actually sitting in the debossed section. The embossed section is still lovely, but inside those debossed areas you have that yellow ink. So it actually looks like a beehive. Love that. That came to me, I have no idea how or why, but yes, that's the technique that I've used to create this today. Now, one thing I'm going to do before we carry on is I'm going to use a black Stampin' Right marker, oh, excuse me, just move the camera, and just add a little bit of ink speckling to this piece, like so. Just a little bit, not much. And then we're going to just crunch the edge a little bit. So this may make some of you cringe, but I want to create a little bit of just a crinkly sort of look. Okay, we can then go ahead and stick that down onto our card front. I'm going to use wet glue for this because I want some of that top piece to just stay free as such. And then that is going to get stuck down like so. Just give your little edge a little crease over, and there you have your sort of 3D hexagon background. Okay, so we're going to build our bumblebees next. I'm just going to double check the measurement here. Okay, so we're going to work in inches here. And we're going to cut some strips that are 1/4 of an inch. and you're cutting this So Saffron cardstock. Okay. So my 1/4 inch line is this one here. So that first long line, it works out roughly 0.6 centimeters. Okay. So just cut yourself a couple of strips of this. I'm going to cut 4 of them just to make sure I've got enough. Okay. And then you can put that to one side. Bring in your black card and you're going to cut 2 ladybird bodies. You can cut the leaves, the wings as well, it's fine. I sometimes find it a bit easier. I know it's a bit wasteful, but it's only for filming, so it's okay. So we have our ladybird bodies. Oh, I've made a mistake there. I caught just the edge of something else. Okay, so here we have our ladybirds bodies, and we're going to add just a little line of glue just sort of by the neckline, and then lay your strip of So Saffron card across. Bring it down a bit and then lay the next one on. And I'm not leaving a huge space of black between. I've really sort of just given myself a couple of millimeters. Like so. Okay, leave that to dry and then do the same with the second one. This takes a little bit of patience, but it's worth it to create these lovely little bumblebees. Like so. And then bring your first one back. So you probably only needed 3 strips. And just follow your ladybug, the edge of your ladybug, cutting off that excess. And there we have a bumblebee. Love a bumblebee. Who'd have thought it? So let's just do the same to this one. Push all of that to one side, and there we have our bumblebees. Now, if you have some in your kits, in your craft stash at home, if you have some vellum, cut yourself a couple of wings from vellum, and this will just elevate your bumblebees. Okay, so I'm just going to curl these ever so slightly. I'm going to curl them up and then add just a really thin line of wet glue to that top of the wing, and then attach that like so, and there you have your little bumblebee. Who doesn't love a bumblebee? That's it. If you've forgotten to curl them, just once it's stuck down, just curl it between your fingers ever so slightly, and there you have your little bumblebee. Okay, so keeping with the hexagon sort of hive theme, take your little bundle of hexagons and be really careful when you take this apart, because this is really fiddly, and I actually broke the first one that I used. And just separate that hexagon And we're just going to do a little bit of layering with this. This bit will come out. There he is. Right, okay. So I'm going to lay my hexagon down sort of there at a bit of an angle, and then I'm going to add some dimensionals, which I put down on my desk, and I'm going to add a little dimensional here and here, and I'm going to stick my ladybird, my bumblebee to it like so. Okay, I've then got in my kit a little banner. This comes from one of the apertures on that first card, and I'm going to stick that down over the top. So what you could do if you wanted to, again, it's just clever layering so you don't get in a gluey mess. Add your dimensionals to where the banner will go. And just stick that over the top. I've overlapped it so the edge of the banner comes away from the edge of that hive like so. And then you've got another one of these to attach. This one feels a lot fiddlier, but just sort of prise it away. That's a lovely hexagon for you to use on another card. You get so much in these little packs. I think they're quite overlooked. And then here we're going to stick that one in there like so. I am going to just stick that down with a bit of wet glue actually. Just in the corners. Slide that just under a little bit. Like so. And then our second bumblebee is going to sit. Actually, let's stick the thanks down first. So you then have this thanks die. So you have the outline cut from Crumb Cake, and then the detail cut from So Saffron. So just layer these two together. Don't forget to pop out any stubborn bits that got left behind. Little dots of wet glue is your friend, and when I say little, I mean really little. Oops. And now we can stick our second bumblebee on. I keep wanting to say ladybird. First there were butterflies, now I'm saying ladybird. I want to say bumblebee, I'm saying ladybugs. Stick him down there, and I've just overlapped him ever so slightly onto the turf of the thanks. And then also in your kit you have this little teeny tiny hexagon, and this is cut from the beautiful shapes dies, I think they're called. So we're just going to stamp our sentiment here. The sentiment comes from the Hello Ladybug stamp set. It just says my friend. You don't have to add this bit on, it's just a little touch. It's just another hexagon as well. Now, without burning my fingers, I'm going to try and heat this. So I'm just going to hold it down with my bone folder. And there we have it. I managed to not burn my fingers. Woohoo! Pop a little dimensional just down there. And attach that on. To finish it, I've just added a little ribbon, a little bow of linen thread, and then inside the card we can add our piece of basic white that we would write on when we send it. And then the last tiny little touch, lots of detail on this, is some of those little little sequins that we've been using on our cards. And there we have it. That is our finished card. Card number 4 is all done. Let me know what you think. Add your finished card to the Facebook group in the album. And I will see you over on card number 5. And we got a little bit of fancy folding happening. Bye for now.